on a police cruiser with a knee in his back when all he did was walk home from tutoring. He didn't expect 6 squad cars, floodlights, and guns drawn for a kid with a backpack and a pencil still tucked behind his ear. He definitely didn't expect to be accused of breaking into a luxury boutique. He had never even set foot inside. But that's exactly what happened on the night his life changed forever. But before we unveil this story, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss out on this type of story. Meredith Langston, heiress to the Langston fortune, socialite, boutique owner, and self-declared pillar of the community, pointed him out from across the street and said, "That's him. He was lurking. I saw him near the window earlier." That's all it took. No prints, no footage, no stolen goods. Just a white woman's word, and a black teen walking home from school. They charged him with felony burglary. His mother cried in the courtroom as the judge read out the charges. His public defender didn't look him in the eye. Meredith sat in the front row in a white Chanel blazer and diamonds that sparkled under the courtroom lights. She looked bored, smug, confident. When the judge asked Jeremiah how he would plead, he stood up slowly, looked Meredith right in the eye, and said, "Not guilty, Your Honor, and I'll be defending myself." The entire room shifted. Someone coughed. The stenographer paused. The judge leaned in. "Are you sure, son?" Jeremiah nodded. "My father was a criminal defense attorney. I studied law with him every day until he died. I can do this." Meredith scoffed and then laughed. Loudly. "This is going to be fun," she said. Day 1 of the trial. The DA showed grainy black and white footage of a hooded figure smashing a window and running off. No face, no timestamp, no identifying details. But Meredith testified. It was him. I remember his eyes. I'll never forget those eyes. Jeremiah took notes calmly. Every word, every inconsistency. He rose from his table and walked slowly to the witness stand. "Ms. Langston, how far were you from the suspect?" "About 20 feet. "At night?" "Yes." "With 3 street lights out in front of store?" "Yes, but you're sure it was me?" "Positive. Even though you can't say what brand of shoes he was wearing, or what hand he used to smash the glass, or what direction he ran. I just know what I saw." "Or what you think you saw?" She stiffened. The jury was watching. Jeremiah let the silence stretch. On day 2, the prosecution tried to build character attacks. Said Jeremiah once skipped class. Said he was known to be moody. But when he took the stand again, he showed his report cards. For .0 GPA. Letters from MIT, Howard, and Stanford. Volunteer hours. Robotics championships. The prosecutor fumbled. Meredith smiled like none of it mattered. Because in her mind, the trial was already over. She had money. Status. She had the jury in her pocket. Until day 3, when Michael Stratham walked into the courtroom, top civil rights attorney, national figure, $1 million retainer, and he walked right up to Jeremiah, shook his hand, and sat behind him. The courtroom buzzed. The judge paused. Jeremiah explained to court, "Mr. Stratham has been my mentor since I was 15. He's here in case I need co-counsel." Meredith's face cracked. She whispered angrily to her attorney. Stratham sat back, arms crossed, watching the whole thing unfold like he already knew the ending. And then it was time. Jeremiah stood for his closing argument. The room fell quiet. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what you've seen here is not justice. It's assumption. It's bias. It's fear of skin color wrapped in privilege and paraded as truth." He pointed to the surveillance photo. "That's not evidence. That's an outline." He pointed to Meredith. "She's not a witness. She's a storyteller with a motive. A vandal hit her store, and she needed someone to blame. She saw a black boy walking by, and that was enough." The room was dead silent. "But I am not that boy. I'm Jeremiah Cole. Student, son, future, not a thief. And if you convict me, you're not just locking up a teenager. You're locking up every child who looks like me, walks like me, learns like me." The jury stared at him. Even the judge was still. Meredith looked pale. Her lips pressed tight. The courtroom adjourned. Hours passed. The jury didn't return. Outside, A crowd had gathered. Signs read, "Free Jeremiah." Hashtags flooded the internet. Inside, Jeremiah waited. "Calm," his mother whispered. "Whatever happens, you already won." And then the jury returned. The foreman stood. "We, the jury, find a defendant." Boom! The doors slammed open. A detective ran in. "Your Honor, we have new evidence." The judge held up a hand. "Explain." The detective held up a photograph. Clear, color, high resolution. A different teen, same build, same hoodie. Caught on camera behind the boutique minutes before the break-in. Timestamp, geotagged. "We've made an arrest." He's confessed. The judge turned to Meredith. "You still stand by your testimony?" Meredith stuttered. I thought, but it was over, or so it seemed. The courtroom erupted. Jeremiah stepped out of the building into flashing lights and microphones. People cheered. Cameras followed him to the steps. But just as he reached the sidewalk, a black SUV screeched to a halt. Two men stepped out in dark suits. Badges flashed. "Jeremiah Cole?" "Yes." "We're with the Justice Department. You're not in trouble, but we need your help. Something much bigger is happening, and you just got their attention." Cut to black. The black SUV door slammed behind him. Jeremiah sat in the back seat, heart pounding. Try to make sense of what just happened. Two federal agents, both stone-faced. Didn't say a word until the car pulled onto the interstate. Then the taller one turned around. "You made people nervous today, Jeremiah," the other added. "And you made some others very interesting." Jeremiah swallowed hard. "Am I in danger?" They didn't answer. The taller one handed him a manila envelope. Inside, documents, photographs, court transcripts, all circled in red ink. At the top, Project Ivory. A private group, one no one talked about publicly. Billionaires, politicians, CEOs, the real elite, the kind of people who made laws without needing a seat in Congress. And they'd been watching cases like his. Cases where black teens were wrongly accused, where justice bent to wealth, where the accused fought back and won. Only 3 cases in 10 years. Jeremiah's was the 4th. "You embarrass someone important," the agent said. "Langston?" Jeremiah asked. The men glanced at each other. "Not just her. Her family sits on a shadow board tied to Ivory. Her father is one of the founding members." Jeremiah leaned back. Everything made sense. The aggressive charges. The media silence before it went viral. The way the DA pushed without evidence. It wasn't justice. It was theater. And he'd flipped the script. "What do you want from me?" Jeremiah asked. "We want you to come to D.C. There's a hearing, closed door, not on record. They want to ask how you did what you did." Jeremiah laughed under his breath. "I told the truth." "And that's exactly what they fear," the agent said. The car pulled into a private airstrip. Within minutes, Jeremiah was airborne. Private jet, leather seats, silence. He stared out the window, replaying the trial, the cross-examinations, Meredith's face when she realized she lost. But something still felt unfinished. He checked the manila folder again. One document stood out, an email from Meredith Langston, dated 3 days before the break-in. Subject, let's make an example. The body read, "If something were to happen, I have someone in mind. He's been around the store. Would make it clean and easy." It was addressed to a private security consultant tied to Project Ivory. The pieces snapped together. He wasn't just a random pick. He was a scapegoat, hand-picked days in advance. His blood ran cold. It wasn't just bias. It was premeditated. The jet landed outside D.C. A car waited. Jeremiah was escorted into an underground facility beneath a federal building with no signs. A security door slid open to reveal a narrow, windowless room with one long table and 10 seats. 9 were filled. A woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and a sharper voice spoke first. "Mr. Cole, tell us exactly how you were able to discredit a witness with no legal license." Jeremiah sat calmly. She discredited herself. "I just asked the right questions." The man beside her snorted. "And where did you learn to do that?" "My father. He taught me that truth is always a weapon. You just have to sharpen it. The room fell silent. Then the chair at the end of the table swiveled. A familiar face. Meredith Langston. Her expression was colder than it had been in court. What Jeremiah fails to mention is that this entire case has destabilized our court's integrity. His little stunt undermines public trust. Jeremiah stared at her, or maybe it exposes the system for what it really is. She smiled thinly. You had your moment. Enjoy it. But you'll find that truth doesn't always win in the real world. Then maybe the real world needs changing, he said. The woman at the head of the table interrupted. Enough. Jeremiah, we didn't bring you here for philosophy. We brought you because we're facing something bigger than you understand. Project Ivory is splintering. Some of us believe in cleaning the rot. Others, they're doubling down. You have a decision to make. A file slid across the table. Inside, evidence of more cases. Dozens. Kids just like him. Accused. Silenced. Forgotten. Some are in prison right now for crimes they didn't commit. Help us build a legal task force. Find the pattern. Expose them. Jeremiah flipped through the photos. Names. Faces. A girl in Mississippi. A boy in Ohio. Another in Texas. All teenagers. All black. All framed. He looked up. If I do this, I want every trial public. Every name cleared. Every official held accountable. Meredith laughed. You really think you're in control here? I don't need to be, he said. I just need the truth on camera. The woman smiled. That's why we picked you. And just like that, Jeremiah was no longer just a student. He was a weapon. Weeks passed. He was assigned secure office in D.C. Team of 4, full access to sealed court records. He started building profiles. Patterns emerged. Same judges. Same prosecutors. Same corporate donors behind the scenes. But one case haunted him. Case number 1479. Sealed. Redacted. No victim photo. No crime scene. Just the name, Trayvon Cole. His father, dead 10 years. Supposedly a car accident. But the file said classified. He dug deeper. His security clearance wasn't enough. He hacked it anyway. What he found made his hands shake. Trayvon had uncovered Project Ivory back then. He'd tried to go public. Days later, his brakes failed. The same judge who buried the report, still active, still protected. Jeremiah stared at the last page. A memo. Terminate before exposure. Son observed. He was being watched even then. His entire life had been under surveillance. They didn't just frame him. They'd murdered his father. That night, Jeremiah couldn't sleep. He stared at his father's photo. The lessons, the late nights studying law, the warnings. He finally understood. His father hadn't just been preparing him for school. He'd been preparing him for war. The next morning, he walked into the facility, told the panel everything. No filters. Names. Files. The murder. The cover-up. I want justice, he said, for all of them, and for my father. The panel was silent. Then the woman at the head nodded. Then we go public. But before the press conference could begin, the power cut out. Sirens. Emergency lights. The building went into lockdown. A guard ran in. We've been breached. Internal security says it's Langston. On the monitor, live feed. Meredith in the server room. Downloading everything. Data. Names. Evidence. Then she looked into the camera, smiled, and whispered checkmate. Jeremiah ran, down 6 flights, through locked doors, into the server chamber. Empty. Just a single phone on the ground. A video played. Meredith, seated on a private jet. You made a lot of noise, Jeremiah. So I made a decision. If I go down, I take everyone with me, including you. Behind her, photos of every panel member. One by one, files leaked to the press. Financial crimes, bribes, scandals. Meredith wasn't covering it up anymore. She was burning it all down. The next day, Project Ivory was exposed, but not the way they planned. The public didn't see Jeremiah as a hero. They saw a scandal, a war among the elite, and in the middle of it, a teenage boy who somehow lit the fuse. Jeremiah went dark. No phone, no interviews, no public appearances, until 1 year later. A new courtroom, a new case, a new defendant. This time, it was Meredith Langston and her defense team. As the trial began, the bailiff announced, calling to the stand, surprise witness of the defense, Jeremiah, because what he was about to reveal would change everything.